Obsidian mistakes that ruin productivity. Obsidian is powerful, but it's easy to misuse. Small mistakes can turn a tool meant for focus and thinking into a source of stress and wasted time. In this video, I'll show you the most common Obsidian mistakes that ruin productivity so you can avoid them and actually benefit from the app. Mistake number one, overbuilding the system. Now, it's tempting to create dozens of folders and to use every plugin that you can find, build dashboards and build trackers, but more structure doesn't always equal more productivity. Too much setup steals attention from actual thinking and writing. Obsidian works best when the system is lightweight and flexible, not complicated and rigid. So for example, I may create a lot of folders over here, but they're not always going to help me out and it won't always be productive. When I focus too much on the setup over here and I create folders and subfolders, that it's going to take away from what the base is, and the base is actually writing the script. So for example, if this is a vault for a creator, then if I'm not focusing on actually writing and just creating the folders and organizing, then I'm not really getting anywhere. What I basically need to do is I actually need to write here. I need to write the scripts, I need to write the drafts, I need to write all of this stuff down and make those notes. And creating all those folders is actually thinking and writing. Mistake number two, using it only for storage. Many people treat Obsidian like a filing cabinet. They dump ideas, documents, and notes without ever revisiting them. This turns Obsidian into a data graveyard where information is technically safe but practically useless. The notes should be living tools and not just storage. So if you go into your folders, your notes, if they're just laying there, if they're only stored here and they're not actually being used, they're not being linked together, they're not being connected, they're not being revisited or relinked, the connections are not building over time. A note could just be lying over here for a really long time and you haven't gone over this note. So if you go here and open up that note and you see that you haven't gone over this, you're not revisiting it, you're not editing it, you're not improving it, or you're not coming back to it for any information. For example, if this is inspo here and I'm not coming back to it to look at what the inspiration is, then I'm really not like, why did I even take this note? Why did I even make it in the first place if I'm not going to benefit from it, if I'm not going to come back to it and get the information that is stored in here? So don't just use Obsidian as a place for storage. Now, a lot of people do this unintentionally. They don't realize that all they're doing is that they're storing their notes in here and they're just organizing folders and subfolders and putting their notes in there, and they're just organizing their notes and storing them over here in an organized way. But that is not what Obsidian is for. Obsidian is for capturing your thoughts and your ideas, and that is what you need to focus on. The notes should be living tools. They should be helping you find your habits. You should be going over those notes. You should be writing reviews on those notes. You should be connecting those notes together. You should be using them to find out your habits, your work styles. You should be noting any patterns, and you should actually be making decisions or extracting some kind of knowledge from them, which you can actually apply to your projects. So that is what you need to do with the notes. The notes are not here to just be laying there. You actually need to extract information and knowledge and maybe wisdom, or find any patterns or habits from those notes. You need to extract something from those notes and then use them for improving either your projects or improving yourself. So then comes mistake number three, which is constantly switching context. So opening multiple notes and jumping between projects or checking the graph repeatedly creates context switching chaos. So you can open multiple notes and you can jump between notes, but don't open multiple notes and then jump between projects and then check the graph as well multiple times and then create context or keep checking the graph a repeated number of times. So you don't want to do that. Instead of thinking, your brain is just going to be managing tabs, and that is not what you want to do. That is not what Obsidian is for. Obsidian is here, it is a distraction free area which is designed to help you think, to facilitate you in thinking and writing down your thoughts, capturing your thoughts in the notes. So that is all you want to do here as well. You don't want to be stuck in just managing the tabs and just opening multiple tabs and managing, the storage and just storing your notes and opening up several tabs and having this really chaotic kind of setup. That is not what Obsidian is for. It is here to help you think. And you want to think and you want to keep your focus by limiting the number of notes that you open. So you don't want to open a lot of notes at the same time, and you want to be working in one note at a time. So don't be working in a note here and in a note here, like I have two notes open over here. You don't want to be working on both of them at the same time. And you want to be using your daily notes to centralize your focus. So use your daily notes, open up a daily note. If you go here, you can open your daily note. Here we have the daily note, the date as the title, and then down here we can start noting down whatever we want. So you want to use this daily note as soon as you come here and you start working. You want to open it up and you want to note down what you have to focus on, what your focus is, what you're working on, what you want to achieve. You want to note those things down in order to centralize your focus so that you know what you want to focus on. You can create an outline or you can design a style or a system where there could be 3 to 4 basic things that you mention here. You could mention what you're focusing on, why it matters, and what is next. So that way you'll know what task you want to carry out, what you're focusing on, what the project is, and then why it matters also gives you a sense of why you are carrying out these tasks and what it is you exactly want to achieve. What do you want the outcome to be? So it's going to help you focus more on a result oriented kind of approach. And then the third point, what's next or what you want to focus on next, is going to help you decide where you are and then where you want to be. So it's going to kind of take you from one task to another, and it's going to bring you out of that. And it's also going to help you focus on where it's going to give you some direction on where you are and then where you are headed. So always use the daily notes to give you a kind of focus or centralize your focus. Then you have mistake number 4, which is linking without purpose. So if we open up our graph view over here, we can see our graph and we can see how all these notes are linked together, and there are a lot of links. Now this structure is created, and if we had linked over here without any purpose, then it would have been just a mess. So linking is powerful, but meaningless links are distracting. Some users link everything. They could be even linking any random thoughts. They could link those together. There could be notes with no clear connection, but still they would make that connection, and they would force a structure for the graph view because they just want it to look good, or they just think that it's very important to create those links, but it's not. Creating the links is not the main focus. Creating links between related nodes, making notes which are related, and then creating links between them, that is what Obsidian is for. So if you don't follow that rule and you just force structures and you just force links, then this is going to turn the graph into noise instead of insight. Links should reflect real relationships between ideas and not just focus on decorating your vault. So this is a mistake which is commonly made, and you need to be mindful of not committing that mistake as well. Moving towards mistake number 5, which is waiting for perfection. So many people avoid writing their notes unless they are perfect or fully structured. Now, I used to suffer from this until I joined Obsidian. I used to actually wait for writing my notes. I used to not note things, and I used to wait. I used to keep thinking about them in my head until I could perfectly structure that thought. But that was a mistake, and This usually leads to procrastination and underutilization of the tool. And that is exactly what used to happen with me. And if you're doing that same thing on Obsidian, then it means that you have not improved, or it means that you are absolutely killing the whole purpose of Obsidian. Obsidian is for thinking in progress and not polished or final versions. So with Obsidian, it gives you the space to think in progress. It gives you the space to start writing, even incomplete thoughts. Start writing when your thought is in process, and you don't have to worry about any versions. So you can start messy with Obsidian and you can just refine that thought later. And even with the titling, you can leave the title as is, and then you can go back to it and you can rename the title later, and then you can put it in any related folder later as well. So you can work on the categorization later as well. Mistake number 6 is ignoring the daily note. The daily notes are often overlooked or underused. Skipping them means losing a clear daily focus, like we just discussed, losing a record of progress, and patterns in work and thinking. So, if you're skipping the daily notes, you're going to miss out on all three of these, which are absolutely important. And I have stressed so much on these up till now. You do not want to miss out on these 3 points, and you do not want to miss out on the daily notes. The daily notes aren't just logging, they are actually guiding deep work and reflection. So definitely include those. Mistake number 7, depending too much on plugins. Now, plugins can enhance productivity, but they also add a bit of distraction, and you will need to maintain them, and then you will also have the pressure to optimize them constantly. So it is easy to spend more time tweaking the plugins than actually doing work without even realizing it. Obsidian itself is sufficient for most workflows, and you don't need a lot of plugins. Yes, you can add in one or two if you really need them, or if the domain that you work on requires some plugin, then yes, definitely go ahead and add them, make your work easier. But most workflows really don't need plugins, and absolutely do not overcrowd with plugins. That is just, asking for a disaster. So don't do that. Don't waste your time and don't waste your efforts as well. So, Obsidian is powerful, but only if you use it intentionally. You want to avoid overbuilding, treating notes as storage, constant context switching, meaningless linking, waiting for perfection, skipping any daily notes, or over relying on plugins. Just focus on writing, linking with purpose, and reflecting daily. Obsidian is a thinking tool, not a productivity hack. Use it wisely and it will transform your workflow instead of holding it back.